So, welcome to another edition of Got Gameplay on our YouTube channel. I am Bryan Calhoun, alone this time as just internet issues have plagued me this entire week. I have been far behind in my work because, well, I could not get on the internet. So, I'm doing the best I can with this week's late edition of Ori and the Blind Forest, which I have to say is not what I expected. I'm kind of a third-person snob, if you will. It takes a lot to really get my attention when it comes to 2D games, and you know what? I'm not saying that Castlevania games, those are not great. I'm not saying that they are in some ways a lesser game than Grand Theft Auto 5, which is this huge three-dimensional world, or World of Warcraft, or Destiny, or something like that. I'm not saying that a two-dimensional sort of Castlevania-style game is not good simply because I'm not a huge fan of the genre, but it's not one I would tend to play, obviously, because of my, not hatred, just lack of interest. I get bored by them easily, and that's actually what Ori and the Blind Forest is. I thought this would be a simple 2D side-scroller where, Super Mario style, I'd start off at the beginning of one area, and then, just jump across platforms until I got across to the end. And I figured that the people who made this game, considering how much they spent on just how good it looks, would not have had the time to actually make a interesting game. Some game that is strange, or strange doesn't have to be the only term that I use. Enjoyable, I guess, would be the most important part of gameplay during this game or in the Blind Forest or any other game, because if it's boring, then who the heck wants to play it? So here I was in the middle of not being able to play the internet very much, not being able to go on YouTube and really not watch Netflix and stuff like that, faced with Ori and the Blind Forest, and really thought I'd be in it for, or sort of into 6 hours of, here we go, side-scrolling. And then you start playing the game and you realize, oh, wait, Ori and the Blind Forest, first off, let's get this out of the way. So beautiful, so beautiful. You can tell it just by looking at it. So you don't need to really worry about that past just saying how beautiful it is. You can clearly see yourself. And the game continues from start to finish to impress you with those visuals. But there are jumping puzzles that are basically literally turned on their sides, because there's a lot of this game that deals with, say, changing gravity or changing the direction you're in midair. You can jump midair, and then automatically one of the powers you'll get will allow you to stop everything, pick a direction, and shoot yourself off in that direction. And there you go. You're just heading in that new direction. There's powers that you'll see as we show gameplay of Ori and the Blind Forest that you're simply just able to run along this wall and then walk up the wall, because it sort of ends in this gentle but, drastically 90-degree turn. And then all of a sudden, your center of gravity has changed to now, like, the part of the wall that you're touching, even though that part has just, like, come at a 90-degree angle, is now the ground. It's now the area that gravity is pushing towards. So, Ori and the Blind Forest is not what you expect it to be. There's no way really to describe it without you playing at least a part of this game, how completely not it is just a side-scroller, just a boring side-scroller like I thought it was going to be. And man, the first 10 minutes, you want to talk about something that's heart-wrenching. And I'm not really like that much of an emotional dude, to be honest. Emotions, maybe not wasted on me, but I'm much more of a critical thinker. I don't really get emotional in many situations. Yeah, tugged at my heartstrings. Seriously, I felt bad. And it's probably because I have a dog. It's probably because there's a situation here. Ori and the Blind Forest starts with sort of a adult-child situation, if you will. And I won't spoil which one you are, but as Ori, you play either one of the adult/child positions. And then, something that will make you cry very much happens, and then the game begins. That's how the game starts. It starts off with this really gut-wrenching moment. So yeah, that's a really great way to get your game going. But after that, it tells a story through platforming, and there are sometimes little text bubbles that show up on the screen. And that's how Ori and the Blind Forest sort of describes the story of this world that it's a little corrupted. It's not right. And it's a video game, so you are the chosen one to make things right again. And that's kind of that's not how you play the game. You play the game through sort of this metroidvania gameplay style where you have powers and you gain more powers. You start off with a few powers, but you gain more powers as the game continues. And then towards, the end of the game, you are completely powered up. You have earned all the power, so you can unlock all the doors. But you couldn't do that at the very beginning. There's a lot of places in this game where they'll stop you and say, okay, you cannot continue forward until you get this power. And that's where the Metroidvania stuff goes. You search the area, you find the power, you have the power, and then you move on. You use it through a series of puzzles until you get to the end of the game, which is about 10 hours long, I'd say. So it's a decent amount of money for your dollar. So that is Ori and the Blind Forest. And check in again on Got Gameplay next week.